the tendency of young people to be more fluent with the technology, they end up dominating the space because they do more to just better at playing the game, so to say, how to get the algorithm to work their way. While people like you sit on actual knowledge, you're almost unique, Frederick. Like there are not many like you, especially in your age.
No offense to 25-year-olds out there, but I find 25-year-olds giving life history. If you want to be, if you want to be a multimillionaire in front of my Lamborghini that I rented for the day, $7,500, I'll make you a millionaire. There was a lot of stuff going on, and there still is, that's not really authentic. If I want to take advice, I want to take advice from an old dude, not because we're smarter, but because we've been there and we've been burned and we know how to recover from that. And there's valuable advice there. As you get older, if you're in business for a long time, you get more and more connections, you know, more and more of the deals and of the good deals and the shady deals and the types of things to listen to and the types of things to ignore.
Welcome to the Authentic Content Method today with Fred Cary. Welcome to the call.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to this.
So you are a quite prolific content creator. I was actually reached out by one of your people to set us up, and then I started looking at what you're doing, and I was quite impressed. And before this call, I was suspecting you were getting a ton of help, but it seems like you're running, especially at least your Instagram, on your own.
Yes, call it stupidity. We'll let the audience think little of me right from the very beginning. But yeah, I have been running it on my own. However, I have a team that I'm working with to see if they can help me with my content. The reason, by the way, I try to do it on my own is I wanted my content to be kind of authentic, spontaneous, and genuine, and it's kind of hard to do that with a team sometimes.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's like I mean, for example, let's say we record something, that's me, and then we have to write the copy, like some type of copy related to the video or something. Then immediately it becomes a disconnect. Like they can't sound like me.
Right.
There is a way to do it. Well, I guess a really good copywriter could do it. But what you can do is say like, here's an official channel, which it is me, but it's not me writing. Like you can do it like that. But I was surprised because now we're doing a podcast and looking through your stuff. Like you have a lot. Like how many podcasts do you do in a week or in a month?
I've done like 4 in a week, pretty regularly.
Nice, nice. Well, because
But you're the best by far.
Oh. Oh, thank you, Frederick. But what I was thinking about is that if I'm looking at your Instagram, which is your main channel that you're like really paying attention to, it's not all podcasts. Like I'm just scrolling through here, like it's here and there, but I would say like it's maybe 1 in 10 is a podcast something. And most of the stuff is you either talking to the phone, like you set it up like in a forest or in your study or something, and you tell some type of insight. And otherwise you have a little bit that you reshare, like funny or interesting stuff from some other place. And then every now and then you have the podcasts again. So I'm really curious that what got you involved with this to start with? Why did you decide like, okay, I'm going to do it seriously? Because this is serious compared to most of us.
As far as going on Instagram and doing this stuff. So for me, it was really the way to reach the most people. And I started my company Idea Pros about 5-6 years ago. And that was to help work with what I call the outsider entrepreneurs, which is 95% of us. If you look at statistics, 95% of us are outsiders. And we don't need to go into what that means right now. But in order to be able to work with them, it really cost some money to work with me. And I felt I needed to build out my presence so people could go and see what I was all about. If you go to my Instagram page, I'm not really selling anything, although I do have one course on there that people can, I'm not making any money on, people can buy it for $150 or something. But I wanted to have, I'll do it this way. My website is kind of like the iPhone 15. You know, you go on there, you see all the stuff we have and how cool we are. And then my Facebook page, I don't even have a official Fred Cary page. It's just my Idea Pros page. So it's kind of like our operating manual. And then for me, my Instagram page, I wanted to be my kind of the inside, you know, the operating system. And I am the operating system. So I wanted people to look inside me and see what I was all about. So they would have the comfort of working with me from 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 miles away.
Yeah, I mean, so I fully understand the point. As you're doing, I'm actually scrolling back to see how long you've been doing this and doing it well. I can see the evolution of your posts. We're getting now down. You've been still doing videos. Like, where are we, man? This is, I'm just, okay, you can't see. This is, yeah, you've been posting super much. I'm like 1.5 year back. It takes some time to scroll back on Instagram, and it just keeps coming, man. So,
Yeah.
but like you're not like your typical Gen Zer here. People who listen can hear it on your voice that you're a little bit of an older generation. It's quite a step to decide, like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, you might be the only one I've ever met who said, like, I'm gonna go, like, Instagram is my thing, and you decided that 5 years ago. It's quite an undertaking.
Yeah, in fact, I was on, I have a 31-year-old and 23-year-old daughter, and I was on Instagram 5 years before they were. I've always been, even,
Okay.
even, even though I am old and I'm 70, well, I'm going to be 74 soon. Even though I'm old, I uh, I think young, and I'm always looking at the next thing. I know more about AI than probably most people, and I'm always looking a few years out. What's coming up next? I
Mm.
don't even have a retirement account, by the way, because I'm taking all my money and throwing it back into my next venture. So I don't even look at my age as other than a number.
No, well, you have a tremendous energy for somebody. There's this guy. He's the coach he was the coach for the Seattle Seahawks football team, and I
Yeah,
don't know if he was like. I mean, they have some coaches that are reaching up 80. You also have your presidents now in the U.S. But I'm like, some people can stay in the game even though they get older, and some people when they hit retirement, they just dissolve as human beings. Well, I would say 90% people do like that or
yeah.
something. But
What,
you're not one of them.
what's retirement?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Well, here the government saves it for us, but well, as a business person, by the way, it's a bit different. We can set our own retirement setup, so so you can play with that a bit. But yeah. Actually, sometimes they force you to retire. So like a certain type of job, they're like,
Yeah,
you're out. But I like being here. Like, nah, you gotta go.
yeah.
Yes.
I think it's 65 for a pilot.
Yeah. Maybe that's a good one, right? Like we don't want to have two old pilots. I mean, at least that's good. At some point, you gotta be like with the driver's license as well. Like at some point, like maybe the person shouldn't drive anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, Either way, yeah, I get it. So you are an early adopter of everything. Basically, you're gonna try and see what's going on and be on there and experiment and learn. So when did you figure out that Instagram was actually gonna be something that could be an effect? What made you think that? Yeah, I know you do more social media than Instagram, but it's just have it up right now. When did you realize it's an effective vessel to get to be like known, like and trusted? Because that's what you said. Like they want to know who they know who I am. I can share. So when did you realize? Oh yeah, this is gonna be effective for this.
For me, well, I started going on Instagram, and I'd find, and no offense to 25-year-olds
Yeah.
out there,
Mhm.
but I'd find 25-year-olds giving life history. If you
Oh
want to
yeah.
be, if you want to be a multimillionaire, in front of my Lamborghini that I rented for the day,
Mhm.
$7,500, I'll make you a millionaire. And there was a lot of stuff going on, and there still is, that's not really authentic. If I want to take advice, I want to take advice from an old dude, not because we're smarter, but because we've been there and we've been burned and we know how to recover from that. And there's valuable advice there. As you get older, if you're in business for a long time, you get more and more connections, more and more of the deals and of the good deals and the shady deals and the types of things to listen to and the types of things to ignore. You
Mhm.
learn that with age. And so if you're bright, younger people, you don't want to get that information from somebody who's 20.
But I'm with you. I actually had a post. I don't know what podcast I did, a solo podcast, right? Yeah, I had a video I did about it, and I said like it's the reason like there's so much bad advice out there is that people who are like actually experienced don't produce content, and it's easy the younger you get, it's more likely that they're creating content on their own, and they are the people that you shouldn't listen to because they don't know what to talk. I mean, I'm 36. I mean, I'm there. I'm somewhere, but I'm way behind you, for example. So I'm with you. But that's I mean, why not let the 25-year-olds tell you all, or why not just let them have it and you can just observe?
About Well, let me backtrack. They say that you spend the first half of your career building up your resume, and the second half building up your legacy. And I'm way into that second half part of it. And my goal here, after I've had several successful companies, was to give back. And I wanted to give back to entrepreneurs because they're the forgotten ones. I mean,
Mm,
even people like Elon Musk, if you look at some of his stories from 2008, when he almost lost everything, he
mm,
kind of was on his own a lot. And he's the best of the best, arguably one of the richest, if not the richest men in the world, depending on where the stock is on any given day.
Yeah, but now
And
we give him the attention and talk about him and stuff. And some years back when he was really trying, they don't. And if it would turn, if tables would turn on somebody, there's very little love for
no,
entrepreneurs in that way.
no, everybody wants to. America is especially is a strange place because we idolize wealth and success more than any other country, but we're also envious of the people that have it, and are gleeful when they fall.
Yeah,
And
we have a ton of the envy here. So
yeah,
we got that too.
yeah. So, and in any event, it was about
Yeah, yeah.
giving.
Yeah. So you felt that you want to give back, but so why did you realize that this was the platform for that to happen? I mean, let's say you could have done, I don't know, written a book and gone on book tours, or, go to your local college, because I think you've done some teaching as well. You could have done that. You just, stay at a local college, teach a bit. Why engage in the social media? Because you're a public figure. You have thousands of people who know who you are. You have 500,000 just on Instagram. Like you don't have to do that to yourself necessarily. Many people choose not to. So what's going on there?
Yeah, I'm dumber than the average person.
Yes.
I just here's the reality of it. If you look at my audience, there are people from all over the world, and there are a lot of people following me from third world countries. And so if you look at my content, it's kind of like when I talk about entrepreneurship, I say you can apply this to anything in life. If you're a stay-at-home mom and India, and you're not feeling like things are working out your way, you can apply the same mantra of entrepreneurship in your personal life, like never
Mm.
give up, always try new things. If you hit a roadblock, make a sharp turn and find another way to do it. And so I try to manage my content so that people anywhere around the world can benefit from it.
Mm.
And so to me, I couldn't do that with a book. I couldn't do that with speaking tours. I couldn't reach the whole world, and that's kind of the whole world with only 500,000 followers, but I couldn't reach people all over the world by doing it any other way.
Yeah. Well, what I'm surprised about is like you're such ahead of the curve. Like I'm right now working. I mean, Finland is also not like the most forward place in social media. I don't know what that will be, but I'm teaching, especially I'm working with B2B companies to see realize like you need, if you're not on social media, eventually you will be like practically non-existent. And as soon as a competitor of yours picks it up, you're going to be left in the dust. We're all seeing it with one company that I really like. It's an industrial piping company. They do like water flow management. They when they like they're just wiping the floor. Nobody else is doing anything. They do a corporate video, like there's trees, there's a lake,
Yeah,
there's a truck, like it's like, and there's like nobody cares, and that cost them $20,000 to produce that thing, and nobody
yeah,
watches it, nobody cares. And then they are doing the same things that you're doing, talking like a lot of talking head videos, podcast, a little bit of funny TikTok stuff. I think they stopped doing it because they're not paying off. So a lot of talking head, like professional talking about stuff for other professionals, and it's not highly produced. It's very simple, and they're just killing it. But now they're figuring that out now. So I'm surprised that you seem to have realized this years before the rest of us sort of realize that this is a thing.
I'm telling you, I'm a cool dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I'm learning that. Damn, I need to follow your
no,
content very closely.
yeah, I look, I've always been good at communicating with people, and really the only way to be good at communicating with people is to understand what they want. And if you don't understand what somebody wants, you could have your pipe company do a terrible job. Like if you look at companies on Instagram, like Red Bull, you'd
Mm-hmm.
be hard pressed to find a can of Red Bull in their content. There's every 10 or 12
It
or
might
20
be there somewhere, yeah, but
one like falling out the side of an airplane or something, but theirs is all about action, just because they are in tune with what their customers want. And so my customers, if you will, want inspiration. They want to know not only how to do things, but they want to know that it's okay if they're failing doing it, because we've all failed and we all continue to fail. We just have to win one more time than we fail. And so if you understand that and you can deliver that, you can get a really good audience.
mm, mm. I love the attitude. Like you seem to be so. There's no filter there. Like if people are on Instagram and I want to reach people, like let's use Instagram. If people are on Facebook, that I like that because you're just agnostic. Like what do people want?
Yeah.
And just give it to them. Well, so what if we let's get practical here. So let's talk about some volumes. How many posts are we doing? How are you doing on the different platforms?
Well, again, as you said, I'm focusing mostly on Instagram, and
Mm-hmm.
right now I am speaking with a team that wants to take my content and repurpose it everywhere, which I don't have the capability of doing that, but we're probably going to start doing that soon. Um, they think, for example, on TikTok that I could really kill it. I did something on TikTok for a few months. We got 200,000 followers, but then I stopped because I was creating separate type of content. It's just too much for me because I'm also, by the way, Idea Pros has 400 companies that I have 30% of. So I have 400 little baby stepchildren
Oh my
that
lord.
that I'm constantly talking to. So I'm
That you're
working.
constantly neglecting. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm working
There's
13.
400 of them.
It's 400. Yeah. Yeah. In another 2 years, we're expected to get to 4,000. So
Yeah.
I have a lot on my plate. So I'm going to have to bring in a little help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am gonna go on the other platforms again. Right now, the focus has been on Instagram. I used to do 2 posts a day. I'm doing 1 post a day right now because I'm
Mm.
doing it all by myself. I might pick it back up to 2. But on Facebook, we really just do one long half-hour show every Friday.
Mm.
And on LinkedIn, we're starting to take some of my content and move it over onto LinkedIn. But Instagram is
Because I
definitely the
see on
primary.
LinkedIn you like done there, like you just reshare it basically what it looks like. You have
Yeah.
something and reshare it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, LinkedIn for me is like, I mean, in my world, so to say, LinkedIn has been doing really well, and Instagram has been the opposite. Like I struggle with Instagram to make it do what I want, and partly
Yeah.
it's because I'm not posting the way I should at
Yeah.
the moment. There will be a point when somebody listens to this and says, "Rasmus, you're great on Instagram." Like I know, future person, I figured it out, but I'm not there. I'm failing, just like Frederick was telling me to do. Uh, like it's okay to fail. I'll get there. But it's like like you were doing like 2 posts a day for a while, but now you're doing one. But that's still what I'm surprised about is like the variation. You have and you just have so many. Like, how do you keep it? Like, if I just look, like, if I just like look this week, we have there's a daily morning routine of high successful people. It's a black one with white and yellow text, and swipe to know like there has meditation, sun, workout. There's all kinds of stuff they do. Right, that's one type. It was carousel post. Then you have an Elon Musk saying something, and you comment. You should reshare it, and you comment on what he's saying with your own copy, with your own text. Then we have you speaking, talking head video while drinking cup of patience. It says on the cup of coffee, it says patience. And then you have a little copy there and you're talking about have patience. Yeah, you have the same here in the call. You're talking about that. That's a third post. Then with fourth is a picture from your dad. No, it's an old picture.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's me when I was 25 years old. Started my
yeah.
second company, already a millionaire, and looking at my dad. My dad thought I was a piece of crap.
Exactly. Trying to be something, you should go get a corporate job.
Exactly.
Make something of yourself. And then we have from that you have a commentary on that from your house, and then you have a clip here about like kind of a sad clip about some war situation, and then lastly you have a photo, like a couple what's called like a collage of like short videos with the and this is just you, and it keeps going like this. It's just video after
Yeah.
video after video, and you just give insights and ideas, inspiration. How do you like how are you able, and you have 400 companies to take care of, what's going on, how are you able to have this flow of ideas and production on your own?
Well, I've done a lot of stuff in my life,
Mm.
and there's a lot of information in there, and I know. By the way, having 400 companies, I know a lot of pain points that startups are experiencing, and because I go through them every day with 400 different founders, and by the way, 100,000 applications to work with me, then
Mm.
I know what people need to hear about, and I know the inspiration that they need to have. And I know that they need to understand that we're all the same. We're all in the same boat. You know, some of us have just tried longer and failed many more times than you have, and are successful because they keep getting up and going. And people need that kind of encouragement because, as I said, being an entrepreneur is a very lonely business.
Well, is it fair to say that as you're going through life and generally speaking talking with these type of founders, you can react to something that maybe happened that day, and you'd be like, just heard this from and you're like, and you record, you find a minute to record.
Yeah, I'm really, you put a camera in front of me and I start talking. It's weird. We have 2 new master classes being edited right now, and they're going to take 3 weeks to do the 2 classes, and they're each like 16 to 20 modules. We did them in 2.5 days with no script. But it just, I just have a lot of stuff in my head and it comes out, and a lot of things are easy for me because I've done them so many times. People will say, how'd you come up with that? Well, I don't know.
And maybe you've been teaching it, like if you talk with these companies, you've been teaching them for years and years and years, and you're teaching the same thing. And now if I throw a copper camera on you and say, can you talk about this? Like you practiced so many times before saying it, and now it's just in front of a camera and just saying it again. Kind of.
Yeah. So it's easy. And I can speak in 58-second clips all day long.
But do you like prep? Like how do you do any in advance? Like 7 in a row, or is it just that day you post?
Yeah, I don't really do things well, except for if I take a podcast, right? I made a podcast that I did a few days ago, a week ago, and I'll look at it. Oh, let me take this piece out and share it. But most of the time, it's by the day. But if these people start working with me, they're probably going to make me record 10 days in one day. You know, changing my shirts and all that stuff.
The classic. And especially as you said, if you can just throw up the camera in front of you and say things, you don't need to have it spontaneously every day. But that's how you've been doing it now. How much would you say you spend on the production side every day?
How much time?
Yeah.
15 minutes.
So because these are partly edited, man.
Yeah. I record, edit, put the music, put the captions and everything, and it takes about 15 minutes maybe.
I like, for me, my audience, I as entrepreneurs, like the people who run businesses who don't necessarily edit, like they don't do the stuff themselves. And I'm like, this is you shoot, you like shoot and fire, like you do it and it's gone.
Yeah.
Like it's just you don't perfect it. It's just it goes out when it's done.
Ready, fire, aim.
Yeah. This is exactly that order. Yes, aim later. But that's amazing. I mean, I love hearing this because it's well, what how do you avoid the block? I mean, you had to start at some point. I mean, everybody asks this. How do you just do this? How can you feel comfortable in front of the camera and just recording and releasing in 15 minutes?
Yeah, and again, I don't think everybody's going to be able to do that right up front. But the reality is that if you know what you're talking about, then it comes easily. You know, if you have to sit there and what do people want to hear? Well, let me backtrack. If it comes really easy to you, then you really understand your audience. And that's the key to success, understanding what your audience needs. If you understand what they need, you can give it to them all day long because that's what you do for your career. And so the same for your audience that is listening in, you know, understand your audience first, understand what's really deep inside of them, and then you can deliver.
But okay, so we talk about if one knows one's audience, they will be easy to create content. It's a Frederick Carey truth being dropped here. But I mean, it makes sense. And because I'm sorry, I was looking at more of your content as we had a little break here with the internet, and I'm seeing that you are so experienced and you're so used to talking with people. I saw you coaching pitching. I saw you were like in a webinar. You have your shorts where you're just talking. It's like you're sitting on this knowledge because you have had. And that's what I'm seeing I'm a coach myself. Like that's my background. I see the repetitions are they're just in your bone. Like you just got this down. That's what it looks like to me.
Well, you know, doing it over and over again, you get it down, and you get. It's the same element for every single thing you do. I mean, if you do things right, I mean, look, I'm mostly vegan right now. I know how to sell steak to a vegan, and everybody could say, well, you're never going to be able to sell steak to, yeah, here, Mr. Vegan, if you buy my last piece of steak, I'm going to turn into a vegan. I've just
Oh,
sold them because I know what they want, right? And so now
oh.
you're selling what somebody wants. You can sell anything if you know what they want. And you can sell yourself if you know what people want to hear. And so really, once you do that, and there are only certain things people need to hear. And once you do that over and over again, then you can teach it really well. We had, I don't want to ramble on, but on the pitching side of it, I'm now invited once a month up to Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, and I can bring whatever companies I want up there to pitch in front of about 50 venture capital firms all together, just because I've been doing it so long. And in those competitions, there are really about 200, 300 startups from all over the world that come there, and about 20 get picked to pitch. And this one that we had just last month, three of my companies, they've never pitched to anybody before. First time entrepreneurs, really good ideas because we built them together. And I taught them how to pitch. They went up and pitched. And one of the big venture capital guys said in one of the group, "This is the best pitch I've heard in years." And turned out to the audience, this is how you need to pitch. And her pitch started with, "Let me tell you about the day that I thought my father died." And right away, everybody paid attention, right? And by the way, that built into why she started the company she started.
Yeah.
But knowing what people need, what people want, even if you're a finance person, you want a story that you can relate to and that makes sense to you and that you captivated. And same thing with going online. Captivate your audience. If you're putting up a can of what you're selling, who the hell wants to do that? Or this is the way we hook three pipes together. Nobody
Now
wants.
back to like I get back to the method itself. I'm excited to hear this, but I want to stay on the content method mostly because people are tuning in. We're looking at like, for example, some of the pictures I saw that was recorded. How did you do that? What was your like? Did you tell somebody? Did you set up yourself? How did you do that?
Oh, a lot of times I'll just use my cell phone. This is my best friend.
Man, dude, you're so raw, man. Yeah, the thing that you go this you gotta understand. People listening, he has 500,000 followers on Instagram with his phone. Like there's nothing more magical. It's just well, the phones are great, but like
Yeah,
you take a tripod, set it up, put a cord, and let's go. Sometimes you have a microphone. I don't know if you have it here. Do you use a lapel mic or something
well,
to?
I'll use the microphone if I'm invited to speak at some place. I don't use it much. You know what? This is how bad I am. I don't know how to use the damn microphone. I got too much hiss. I bought like five or six microphones. There's so much hiss, and I'm gonna have to get somebody in to train me on
Well,
that.
I gotta say, I did the same. Well, at the fifth one, I figured out how to do it, but I realized like, because I was trying to. That's another thing for everybody listening as a tip. You try to be like ultimate or the best, and I can say, well, you see what Frederick is saying. That's absolutely not the way to go. It is like to shoot, no, was it film, fire, and then aim, or how it was? Like
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. Like,
that's firing.
yeah, but even if you do it, you want to be so good. But for me, I was like, I'm going to spend the money to buy microphone after microphone. I knew I'm starting cheap and working my way up until
Yeah,
I figure out I find a method that I want. And I think it took me 5 microphones to get there. But now I'm happy with the setup I have but I had to go through the process of buying. Yeah, otherwise I would never have figured it out.
yeah. Well, you know who has figured it out? Apple and Android.
Oh
And
yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly. Get a new one, get a new one. But I gotta
yeah,
say, like also the audio quality on this call, when you like the smartphones are so good now. Like
yeah,
or computers, if you have a good computer, but the microphone, as long as I was talking with some like audiophile or whatever you call them, people really love audio. And he was
yeah,
saying, like, if you're just in a quiet room and close enough, like how many decimeters, then the phone on the on the microphone on your smartphone is good enough. It's
yeah,
good. It's just that
yeah,
it doesn't handle like an outside noise very well. But if you're in a quiet space, you're all good. You don't even need a proper mic like another microphone.
yeah,
So yeah, well, a newer one, let's say iPhone 10 doesn't do it well, but you gotta like a little bit upgrade like to get that going. But hey, you mentioned something to me I want to get to. You mentioned the show. You had the once a week show that you do on Facebook. Tell me more about that because I'm not. Facebook is my absolutely forgotten thing in here. In Finland, Facebook is only well, I don't for old. I was gonna say it's only for old people, but like it's just not very much used in my generation. But
yeah. In fact, my now 23-year-old daughter, when she was 12, she got a Facebook page, and I told her she had to take it down until she was 13 because that was the law.
Mm.
And so she turned 13. And mind you, that was 10 years ago. She turned 13. I said, hey, you can go on Facebook now. And she said 10 years ago, nobody goes on Facebook
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Past that. Yeah.
However, Facebook is good for if you want to have a longer show, and there are a lot of entrepreneurs on there, and so if you can direct people. By the way, that same show is broadcast on LinkedIn and YouTube as well.
What
So
are you broadcasting with? Do you use a tool for that?
that's one I have my marketing person
Yeah.
doing with me. She's
I
on the
think it,
show with me.
I think you
Um,
did it with Vidyard, with something like
yeah,
this. What I
yeah,
use something like that, and that and you click a button, it just streams everywhere, which was very practical.
yeah.
So anyway, but you have so that's what you have like a weekly thing, and I saw somebody. So is she interviewing you, or what's the concept there?
Yeah, yeah. She basically talks to me about different subject matters. It could be marketing tips, it could be how to grow your social media presence, it could be things about operations and switching over from an entrepreneur to a leader, go out and get money. It could be any different subject, but
Okay,
we
well,
spend a half an hour each week, so we go deeper into the subject.
how do you prep anything for this?
No.
Because this one, I mean, I say this as a good thing because we have to realize as entrepreneurs, as founders, that I do the same, right? Okay, the podcasts are the longest stuff that I do because you're interacting for like half an hour or something. But otherwise, like I don't want us to prep more. You're sitting on the things you should be talking about. You should be sitting on that. If it's really complicated, I do studies. Like we're probably going to study your case based on this research. This here, we're going to add research on our own. That's done by somebody from my team. And if that would be like if I sell it as a service, we would do it like that. But otherwise, if it was just me and this is not my job all the time, I wouldn't spend that. Like it's not needed. I will say there will come a point, which is happening in my industry, that the people with more research will be able to do better content. But if you're in industry X, I mean tiling, making content at all is like you're winning basically.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to plan that much if you're a couple of people who know what they're doing, right? If you have experience, you don't need a plan. If you start interviewing a bunch of very, very young people, you're gonna need a script.
Yeah, they know what they're talking about when you but I gotta say, you're the lady who runs the show, though, she's prepping, and I even saw she had slides, she had examples in there, so she was adding the extra flavor to make this a really good steak. She was doing that for you, but
Yeah,
but that I think that is the way to design your thing is that you try to make yourself. You have to be there for. It's like I think it's like practically like actors in a way. Well, they have to learn the script, like a real actor will learn the script for, and but then when they show up, I actually learned this recently. When they have a film shoot, they'll have a location set up with all the lighting and I don't know horses and cars and explosions. One day, you have one
yeah,
day. You do the
yeah,
same shoot like 40 times, and that's why they have their trailers and stuff because they're waiting. They're wait, and then now you can film for like 3 times and then break. Wait, 3 more times. So, but it's the same when you are treat yourself as an actor. Like when you come in, you should be practically be ready because you know what you're talking about. Have everybody else set everything up so your time is valuable. I mean, that's my logic around this because you're running your business otherwise. You have
yeah,
400 business to take care of, man. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And regarding Facebook and having slides and everything like that, I have to do a shout out to Tessa, who's my marketing director, because those slides happen 20 minutes before the show. Because a
Oh
lot of
wow.
times you won't know what I'm talking
So you have
about.
like a brief a little bit before what you're going to talk about, and she like, yeah.
We'll get a title an hour in advance so she can send out what the subject is going to be, and then I'll get on 15 minutes ahead of time, and I'll say, "Hey, do these 4 slides."
Wait, so
And
you're telling her what you want to talk about?
yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
well, that's a creative and fast working lady, I gotta say.
really.
Because I thought she prepped the stuff that you're gonna talk. No, but so you come in with the like you have a spark of inspiration and you're like, let's talk about this, and then she
Yeah,
has to.
yeah, but she wants to change that because she is going to axe murder me one day if we
She's
don't fix.
trying to be professional. You're just messing up her process.
Yeah, she.
Yes. But I mean, I love the attitude you have towards this. And you're like you have the receipts to prove it. If you record, when what you have to say, you have this spark that comes to you. Do you ever write down your ideas that you get?
No, I really don't. I really don't write them. One thing I do, I look at other content and really see what resonates with people. And I don't copy it or anything, but I see what people are talking about, and maybe I have a different spin on it. For example, a few days ago, I pitched something about the 1% rule, and the 1% rule is like compounding interest for money, and how $100 today, if you got 1% better every year, I mean, every day in the year, you'd have
Oh yeah,
3,600%
and every
interest.
day, yeah, then you're
Right.
very much compounding if it's like
And
that
so I
fast.
took that and I then applied it to life instead. Forget the money, because nobody's going to give you that type of compound interest, but you can do that for your career, for your relationship, for romance, for being a better person. If you can try to be 1% better every day, then imagine who you're going to be a year from now.
Mm.
And so I took that financial element that people are talking about and I turned it into personal growth.
But yeah, but so the question was, do you know, you get ideas all the time. And I can see you can definitely talk in front of a camera. That's maybe one of your gifts. But I'm wondering that you have all these ideas. Do you write any of them down, or is it because let's say you have time to record at 2 a.m. 2 p.m. Like you have to have inspiration then. You have to have something to talk about then. What if you don't have that? Or if you had the idea that when you were in the bathroom before and you can't record in the bathroom?
Yeah. Well, I took a conference call earlier today in the bathtub, uh, because I hurt my back
Yeah.
working out. I
Uh,
work out every morning for 90 minutes. And
And
so I was,
that's another thing I love, by the way. You'd be like, I don't let my bad back stop me. I'll have the call in the bathroom if I have to, because like business got to keep moving.
yeah. And by the way, I told everybody, so this is why I'm not on camera, but
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
no
Oh, there's no
secrets.
footage of that. Okay, then I don't know if it's real.
Yeah. No, but no, we can, I always, if I have time, I can record pretty quickly. There's always things to talk about. And again, if you're 25, 30, 35, maybe even 50, you may not have enough things to talk about every day, but I've not only do I have 400 companies, I started 10 different companies in 10 different sectors, took two of those companies public and had two others acquired by public companies. So I've had a lot of different experiences and
But
different things.
but I believe that gives you a superpower when it comes to this. But what I'm hearing is that actually, if I break this, I'm like I said, I'm a coach. I'm a mechanical guy. I believe in the mechanics of things. And I was like, what you're actually doing is you have a spark of inspiration of some point. You every night, not if your schedule is not meeting, you have 15 minutes that you don't have to answer email. You just take those 15 minutes, you just do the thing, and
Yeah.
you release.
Yeah.
That's what you're allowing yourself to take 15 minutes to do the thing, and then it's done. And the thing you do with the woman there you work with, you schedule that, so that's scheduled.
Yep.
And then you have a little bit of a quick prep before, which is also an inspiration that might become from that week. That maybe you've talked about it, by the way. That's another way for you to remember. You're not writing things down, but if you do content every day about a certain topic, you can be like, yeah, actually on Wednesday I talked about. Let's go into depth in that because that was something I could have do more of, right? So you're
Yeah.
kind of taking notes. That's kind of interesting. You're taking notes through actually making posts.
Yeah. I have, the 400 partners that I have, I know all of their names. I know all of the names of the companies. I know where we are with every one of them. And people that work in the company constantly asking me, "Hey, what about this one? Oh, yeah, we spoke to them 2 weeks ago." And
Mm.
so it's just like something in my head that collects data.
Yes, yeah. But it's really like I think with the takeaway for everybody is just to realize that it doesn't you it's of course helps. Well, I would say most of us are older than 25 who's going to be listening to like who is trying to like yeah, don't let the 25-year-olds like dominate the internet. It's like they don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like he's questioning my authority here when I'm 36 because I'm not even
Oh, no.
yeah. No, but I mean but that's how we should I almost it's like when you're in school and you have a teacher and a kid. Like the kids don't teach the teacher. Like that's not how it works. But on the internet, because of the tendency of young people to be more fluent with the technology, they end up dominating the space because they do more and they're just better at doing and playing the game, so to say, how to get the algorithm to work their way. While people like you sit on actual knowledge most like you're almost unique, Frederick. Like there are not many like you, especially in your age. That I don't know. You're the only one so far I've ever met who's like over 60 who do content like
Yeah.
that I've
You
even
know,
seen.
but I would say to all of your audience, it does get easier the more you have in your head. However, you can make it you can make it easy by doing it regularly, by not worrying about being perfect, by finding something. When you create something, you need to think about this. Is this something that if I saw it, I'd want to share with somebody?
Mm.
And if the answer is no, then throw it away and find a way to resonate with the audience. It's going to come to your page, whatever, whether you have 500 followers or
Mm.
500,000 followers, find things that resonate with your audience, because that's the magic of social media is not just your content, is that your content gets shared. And if you have 10 people that look at it and they share it with 10 people each, then you have a whole lot more people. And that's really the method. Create content that's worth sharing, that's memorable and informative.
Yeah, well, if we stay on that for a while, because you didn't get to 500,000 for like by just doing nothing. So would you say that that's the method for you to, for the reach, so to say? So we've gone through the method of creation, which is as easy as possible in 15, like record in 1 minute, edit for 14 minutes, click release, and that's it. And schedule the once a week that you want to do. Just schedule, or like this podcast is scheduled. Everything else spontaneous. And then you have, but to reach, you make shareable content, basically. Like you make content like, do you consider that when you're like when you're talking, or how do you make it so that easy? I want to share it.
Yeah, I do consider that. And by the way, I'm not that great at it yet. I'm not getting as many shares as I want. And that's why sometimes I remix content,
Mm.
because when you remix content that has a lot of action to it in your audience, all of a sudden that content goes out to other people that are not following you and they start following you. But back to the shareable aspect of it, I think about that every time I do something. Is this something worth talking about? Or am I
Mm.
just saying, hey, I'm Fred Carey, I'm the CEO of Idea Pros, and
Yeah.
come work with us? That's not shareable content. Talking about the three different things that are going to guarantee that you get funded for your new startup,
Mm.
that's shareable.
And you have the receipts to back it up, like what you're talking about. I'm overexposed in this. I'm trying to fix my lighting here. I get bothered with how shit. Anyway, gotta fix that next time. Uh, So yeah, so you're thinking if you need to say it in such a way that somebody else get a hear, like, dude, I hear you have a startup, you need to hear this, like,
Yeah,
or your founding team, we need to like look what Fredrik is saying, like it
right.
has to be something that I need to be, yeah. I've been thinking about that myself, but now when I'm hearing it again, I'm like, maybe that could be even more improved. Like I try to give my advice to people, but maybe I should say it in such a way. That's one. Maybe I should say it in such a way that the person who's listening is not the original receiver of the message. Like I should
Mhm.
say it like as if I'm trying, like, hey, you should tell other people like that this is really good thing. I know you might not need it, but other people will. And I
Yeah.
will say it like that. Maybe that would help. It's
Well,
an
let's
interesting
see.
perspective. Yeah.
You're gonna have to let me know.
Yeah. Well, I have my book called The Authentic Content Method that I wrote. And then as I wrote it, and as I'm doing more of it, the book is slowly becoming obsolete. And I would have to it's frustrating because I have 1,000 of them in the boxes here. So, but it's like I have to I'm sooner like I'm already like getting points. Now, for example, here is to now I have a new perspective that is think about it as you're creating the piece. Is it shareable to a third person? That should be a
Yeah.
key component in of because I've been talking about I call empowering and reframing content as a basic piece of content, and
Right.
so empowering is like kind of helping you do something on your own, and reframing is like see the world from a new perspective. But now I'm realizing that shareability, like make it so that I want to share with a friend, should be one of the key pillars because
Yeah,
that
I
makes
think
me.
it is social media, and you want to make it social. You don't want to make it a one-on-one conversation. You want to make it a one-to-many, and the way to really be successful at one-to-many is by giving content that people want to share and that people are interested in and find entertaining, intriguing, or informative.
Loving it. I'm running out of time here, Fredrik. It's been awesome to having you. What would you like us to leave us with here? What do you want the audience to
Well,
remember?
we're look, what you should remember is this is a journey, and you're not going to get it right the first time, maybe even the 10th time, but you're going to get it right. You just got to keep working at it and take one step at a time. Your content's going to improve if you listen to shows like this. Your engagement's going to improve if you listen to shows like this and follow our advice. And pretty soon you're going to be on here talking, and he won't have any books left, so we're going to have to write another
Let's see
another
about that.
stuff.
Thank you, Frederick, very much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure was all mine. Thanks.
Thank you.